J.P. Crawford, throughout his Mariners career, has for the most part been a very middle-of-the-road shortstop. He was acquired from the Phillies in the Gene Segura trade, and he was a pretty big deal as a prospect at the time. In his big league debut with Philadelphia, Crawford displayed an excellent eye, hardly chasing and walking a good amount. But he both struggled to make contact and didn't hit the ball hard when he did, a very, very bad combination. This remained true through his first year with Seattle, but the first signs of him making strides at the plate happened in 2020. Crawford's 2020 season is a very funny year to look back on because his one strength, his plate discipline, actually took a decent hit. His chase rate was still good, but not elite anymore. However, he began to fully prioritize contact. He cut his K rate down, and a respectable launch angle distribution let him hit for a decent average. This, paired with his above-average walk rate, combined to give him a 95 WRC+. Below average, yes, but that was made up by his defense. J.P. Crawford won the 2020 AL Shortstop Gold Glove, and he deserved it too. He led the AL shortstops in outs above average with 7 in the shortened year. Extrapolating his 2020 over a full 162 games gives him 4.2 fWAR. This isn't entirely a perfect way to view a relatively small sample size, but it's a step in the right direction. Crawford's 2021 was a mixed bag. His offense improved to being an above-average hitter for the first time with a 103 WRC+, but his defense took a big hit from Gold Glove quality to middle of the road. His expected stats also lagged well behind his actual numbers. But Crawford finished off the year extremely well. In September, he over 300 with a respectable 148 ISO. In his first full year as an everyday player, Crawford was worth 3.1 fWAR, which isn't bad at all. There was plenty of reasons to be optimistic heading into 2022, but Crawford's 2022 season would be one of the most bizarre in recent Mariners memory. JP hit 8th on opening day in 2022, but quickly worked his way up through the order as he raked to start off the year. His April of 2022 is probably still the best month of his entire career. He slashed 360, 449, 573 for a 199 WRC+. You must be thinking, this must have been a lucky stretch. And it was, but how lucky was it really? His batting average on balls in play was 375, which is lucky, but not so incredibly lucky. He saw a big increase in both pull rate and fly ball rate, which put him on a 23 home run pace, while also walking more than he struck out. This, unfortunately, came back to earth quickly. The rest of the year, Crawford's WRC+ was 89. On top of that, his defense completely bottomed out. JP was worth negative 11 outs above average. That culminated with him having just 0.9 fWAR for May on, lower than just his April alone. His 2022 overall wasn't terrible. He didn't fall off, but it was a disappointment, especially given how well he started it out. Crawford during this stretch was a serviceable everyday starter, but nothing more. He played a premium position, which allowed his mediocre hitting to get by, but his defense went from a major asset to a major liability. He needed to figure something out, and he knew it. Heading into 2023, Crawford worked very hard at driveline, working on hitting for some more power, particularly pulling more of his fly balls, which largely contributed to his great start to 2022. Early on, even though his overall numbers didn't really get any better or worse, it was clear that something was going right. His exit velocities had dramatically improved, but nobody could have expected what would happen next. Crawford had his best month since April of 2022 in July with a 182 WRC+. His BABIP numbers were definitely unsustainable, but as it turns out, that WRC+ really wasn't all that fluky. He put up a 159 in August, getting on base over 42% of the time for the second straight month. Crawford was having another excellent month in September with a 139 WRC+ through the 27th. But yet another excellent stretch for Crawford coincided with his team's worst stretch. The Mariners had a brutal September and entered the 28th against the Rangers in a must-win situation. Crawford started off the game 1 for 4, but the Mariners are trailing 2-1 entering the 9th. They load the bases with nobody out against the Royals Chapman, but pop-ups from Mike Ford and Josh Rojas aren't deep enough to score the tying run. All of a sudden, the Mariners need a hero, and now. You'll never guess who stepped up to the plate. Crawford takes a strike and then a ball. Then, with a 1-1 count, Jonathan Hernandez throws him a sinker, but its arm side run takes it right over the heart of the plate.
Season pretty much on the line. Slicing drive, Carter back. He can't get it, and the Mariners win the game. J.P. Crawford comes up huge, and the Mariners season continues. Pure joy here at T-Mobile Park.
The next day, Seattle once again essentially needs to win. Crawford strikes out in the first, then walks in the third. The Mariners get a rally going in the fourth, and he steps up with the bases loaded and 1 out. With Nathan Eovaldi getting lit up, the Rangers pull him and bring in, oh hey, it's Brock Burke again. Crawford gets ahead 3-1. Burke goes back to his fastball. Jonah Heim wants him to get it away, but Burke misses his spot, leaving it right over the heart of the plate.
There's a drive deep down the line. Right field, bye-bye. A grand slam. And the Mariners have an 8-0 lead. J.P. Crawford back-to-back dynamic nights.
During the final stretch of the year, the rest of the Mariners' bats went almost entirely silent. Crawford did everything in his power to carry the offense, but his efforts came up just short. The Mariners missed the playoffs by a single game. But as an individual, it was a dream season for Crawford. He set career best in just about every meaningful stat you can think of. On base, slugging, WRC+, F-WAR, and led the American League in walks. Crawford had suddenly put himself in discussions as a top 10, maybe even top 5 shortstop in the game. And then it all fell apart. Crawford stumbled out of the gate in 2024 and never recovered. A promising stretch from late May to mid-June didn't last. He finished 2024 with an 89 WRC+ over 451 plate appearances, his lowest since 2019 and lowest in any full season of his career. His K rate is at its highest since his Phillies days, but his ISO is back at its no power numbers. He's simply no longer the same. It's very easy to be negative about Crawford's future, but I'll try to give some reason for optimism. Crawford's trend with his defense getting progressively worse has gone away this season, and he still has his elite eye. His problem this year was his launch angles and pull rate, but he's solved this problem before. If he can start pulling fly balls again, he will be able to start contributing with his bat again. He's got 2 years left on his deal, and he will get chances. 2023 was absolutely a one-off. But he can be an above-average hitter at shortstop with an above-average glove, and that's really valuable. It's not over for JP Captain Crawford just yet.